Talking season is officially over. It's time to kick off the 2025 season for Texas Tech football. And in today's video, we'll discuss the 5 players with the most to prove in 2025 for Texas Tech. A few on the defense, a few on the offense, and a certain head man himself. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Red and Black Report. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video and hit that subscribe button. Texas Tech football's back, and we've got daily videos 100% free to you and all of Red Raider Nation. So be sure to join the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube, almost 12,500 strong, on our way to 13K, and I think we get there relatively soon during football season. Join the RBR squad today. All right, premise of this video, I think that there's 5 guys, in my opinion, with the most to prove in 2025 when it comes to players for Texas Tech. So you should know where I'm going with the last guy we'll talk about today. But this is a huge season for Texas Tech football. Think about the expectations that talking heads like me have put out there, but maybe even more so than anything, people within the program, donors, coaches, the players, they know the expectations. They have higher expectations than I could put on them, than you could put on them, than anyone else could put on them, right? But there's certain guys within this program that have to prove it. And what I say prove it is either be a leader, have a career year, be something that they haven't so far in the sense of taking that next step. And let's go ahead and start on the offensive side. I got 3 offensive players, and you know we have to start at the quarterback position. Behren Morton, year number 5 of B. Moore, out in the 806, his final year of college eligibility. This is the year you have to see Behren Morton at his best, period. I have said multiple times here on the channel that Behren Morton needs to be a game manager. I've also said that that is not supposed to be a negative term, but you think about the talent he has around him. If Behren Morton plays up to that standard, that hype that we had for him as a true freshman, the kid that grew up wanting to be a Red Raider his whole life, right? And now he gets to do it. And unfortunately for him, for a few seasons, he's had shoulder injuries. Now he's 100%, and he has the most talented roster in Texas Tech program history surrounding him. It's now time for Behren Morton to live up to those expectations of being that high 4-star quarterback, being that guy that leads Texas Tech to a realm that they've never been in, quite frankly, and winning a Big 12 title. Now is the time for him to do it. I'm not asking him to put up Patrick Mahomes type numbers. Nobody thinks that that's in the realm of possibilities for him. What I want him to do is go out there and prove to all the naysayers out there, looking at you, ESPN, with that absolute dog shit graphic you had on College Game Day, talking about notable returning quarterbacks. The disrespect is at an all-time high for Behren Morton. I don't get it. You probably don't get it. Now is the time for Behren Morton to prove the haters wrong, and I think he does so this year. But that being said, you have to prove it, number 2. This is your team. Take them to the promised land, all right? Next up, Howard Sampson. I know what you're thinking. Howard Sampson's already got, proven that he can be a power 4 left tackle. I get that. I truly do. But now he has the expectation to be the anchor of an offensive line. He simply hasn't had that in his career. Okay, he is expected to be one of the premier left tackles in the Big 12. I think he's talented enough to do it. I truly do. I think Howard Sampson is a day 2 quality offensive lineman in the NFL draft. So either a 2nd or 3rd round pick. That being said, you have to go and prove it, that you can be an anchor, that you can be one of those, okay, yeah, we should probably blitz on the other side because it ain't happening over here type guys in the Big 12. Okay, you got to prove it. And again, we talked about Behren Morton and his health. Howard Sampson is the catalyst for that offensive line and making sure that Behren Morton does not miss any time this season, okay? He's huge. He's a mountain of a man, a literal walking refrigerator, 6'6", 340. He's athletic as hell. He's proven that he can be a high-quality tackle in the ACC, but now he's coming over to the Big 12 with expectations he simply has not had in his career, being a premier left tackle. Can he do it? I think it's in the realm of possibilities. But again, like the name of the video, prove it. All right. We move on to the other offensive player for Texas Tech. And this one's interesting. This guy was arguably the most talked about player for Texas Tech football last year, not named Taj Brooks. You know where I'm going. One of the only 5-star recruits in program history, Micah Hudson. The debacle that was this offseason, and there was plenty of people to blame, Micah, people in the Texas Tech football department, like, hey, like they all took their respective blames and hats off to them, right? Like that's the sign of being a man, okay? But Micah Hudson is coming in here after transferring away from Texas Tech to Texas A&M, never playing at Texas A&M, transferring back, and now he's on the 2-deep, and he is scheduled to be the primary kick returner for the Red Raiders. I think this is the season he lives up to a lot of that 5-star hype. Don't hear what I'm not saying. He ain't going to be Jeremiah Smith. He's not going to be Ryan Williams. He's not going to be Wingo down at Texas, right? He's going to be on the 2-deep and make an impact. I can promise you that. But realistically, he's going to be a guy that you look at as maybe your 4th or 5th wide receiver on this roster, depending on how you feel about Roy Alexander. That being said, he will be used, and I think a lot of the expectations that Tech fans had for him as a true freshman will come true as a true sophomore for Micah Hudson. But again, you got to prove it. The talent's there. I think he's disciplined. I think he has his eye on the prize. But once again, you have to prove it. So on the offensive side, the 3 guys that I'm looking for in terms of the chip on their shoulder who need to prove it most in terms of, yeah, they're uber talented. There's no denying that. But you have to prove that you can take that next step or be the guy that this team needs you to be. It's Baron Morton at QB, Howard Sampson at left tackle, and then Micah Hudson. We move on to the defense. This probably isn't fair what I'm about to do to one of these guys. So before I do that, real quick, be sure to head on over to homefieldapparel.com. They are the presenting sponsor of today's video. You can use the promo code RBR15 to get your new favorite Texas Tech shirt, hat, socks, pullover, whatever you want, right? It's football season. Be prepared with the premier Texas Tech apparel provider. If you want anything vintage Texas Tech, Home Field Apparel is the way to go, and you can save 15% off of your entire purchase with the promo code RBR15. All right, we move to the defensive side of the football. I'm starting with David Bailey. And I mentioned before that promo that maybe this isn't fair to him, but you got first-round potential. You have first-round expectations. Prove it. I think you will. I think he will come in and be the most dominant pass rusher Texas Tech maybe has ever had. And that's saying something. I know Senor Sacks there. I know the Tyree Wilsons of the world. I know the other guys that are there. I truly do. But David Bailey is special when it comes to getting after the quarterback. He's special in terms of he can drop back and play in coverage. The speed, the agility, the strength that he has. He is one of one when it comes to pass rushers in the Big 12. Prove it to me. Prove it to me that you're a first-round talent. Prove it to me that you can go get double-digit sacks. Prove it to me that really just offensive coordinators should have multiple nightmares a night about what you're going to do to their offensive linemen on Saturday. Go prove it to me because the talent's there. The resources are there. Everything around him presents the opportunity for him to go out and truly have one of the historic seasons for a Texas Tech pass rusher. You got to go prove it to me now that you will want to be a first-round pick in the NFL draft next year. It's all out in front of you, David Bailey. Go do it. I think you will, but once again, you got to prove it. The last one is interesting on the defense. I know some people will go certain ways here. Maybe you're looking at a corner. Maybe you're looking at one of the linebackers. I'm going straight to the secondary, but not the cornerback spot. No, I'm going to the safety spot. And Cole Wisniewski. Cole Wisniewski is a guy that led the FCS in interceptions in 2023, his last season of college football that he played, because last year in 2024, he missed the season for the North Dakota State Bison, okay? He comes in as a highly touted top 100 portal addition by many publications, okay? He is a absolute behemoth in the secondary. He stands out. He's like 6'3 to 6'5. I mean, he's a freak athlete, right? And Joey McGuire has compared him to Rabbit, just a bigger version of him. Prove it. Right? I think the talent's there. Watching him play and watching him in terms of what he did at North Dakota State was special. This guy can do absolutely everything you want a premier safety in a power conference to do. You want him to go downhill and help in the run game? He can do that. You want him to actually cover someone one-on-one? He can do that. You want him to play more of a center field type aspect of things? He can do that as well. He is a multifaceted sideline to sideline, true cover safety back there. But I got to see it. I got to see it in the Power Four. The talent's there. The athleticism is there. The athletic profile is there in terms of what you want a quintessential safety to look like at a premier level. You got to prove it, though. If you are Cole Wisniewski, I think you will. But again, just like the title of the video says, prove it. And I'd be remiss not to mention the last and arguably the biggest prove it for anyone on this Texas Tech team. And I'm including coaches here. Of course, it's Joey McGuire. Okay. I see a lot of people on social media saying, oh, he's just a high school coach. Really, what has he done at Texas Tech? First and foremost, I think that is absolutely garbage. But again, I think there's levels to this in the sense of what Joey McGuire has done. There is no denying what he has done in terms of building arguably one of the best foundations that this Texas Tech football program has ever had, right? 3 consecutive seasons of a winning record in the Big 12. Texas Tech just doesn't do that, okay? They just don't, right? But they've done it with Joey McGuire. The buy-in from the fan base, the buy-in from the donors, the buy-in from anyone that is relatively close to this program is at an all-time level. But now McGuire has to go out there and he has to prove it in close games. He's got to go out there and prove it that he has the most talented team that Texas Tech has ever had. He can win with them, right? You got to go prove it. And maybe most of all, you have to prove in terms of your coaching acumen that you can outcoach the guy on the opposite sideline. That's been one of my biggest qualms with McGuire. I love him as a coach and what he stands for. I think he is the perfect depiction of what Texas Tech is all about, right? He's all in. But sometimes you go into games and you have to think to yourself, that coach across the sideline is better than him, right? That's got to be negated on half the conference now. He's got to be a premier coach in this conference because you're going to be playing in premier games with how talented this roster is. Joey McGuire has to prove that he is a top 6, top 5 coach in this conference, and I get it's going to be difficult to do in 1 year. I truly understand that. But if he makes those decisions that have to be met in crunch time, right? Most notably at the end of games, I think Texas Tech could do things that this program has never done, most notably win a Big 12 title, and I think there is a chance that they host a college football playoff game. But it all starts with, can he get this roster to its absolute peak? Can he go out there and make the correct decisions in close games? Can he go do it? I think he can because, again, I think McGuire is the man. I think he is one of the best coaches in terms of what Texas Tech has ever had, but maybe most importantly, he is the exact coach you have to have right now. But there's things on that sideline that he has to do better in 2025 because, again, we've talked about it ad nauseum here on this channel. This is the biggest season in Texas Tech program history, period. This is the most talented team you've had. You got to make those correct decisions, JM, and I think he will, but time will tell on that front. So, again, the players that I think have to prove it the most are Baron Morton, Howard Sampson, Micah Hudson, David Bailey, Cole Wisniewski, and then I obviously had to throw Joey McGuire in there. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. We're just a few hours away from kickoff of the 2025 season. We've talked about it enough. Kick off the damn ball. Let's see these Red Raiders beat the absolute you-know-what out of the Golden Lions of UAPB and continue to start this historic season that could be for the Red Raiders out in the 806. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. Down in the comments, let me know, who do you think the player is on the Texas Tech roster that has the most to prove in 2025? And while you're down there, be sure to like the video and hit that subscribe button to join the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube, almost 12,500 strong. Sincere thank you to everybody that has subscribed and been here along the way. A lot more content coming your way, including a game recap. How cool is that? A game recap later this weekend. Football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. As always, I'm RC Maxfield for the Red and Black Report, reminding you, stay safe and Wreck 'em Tech.